Good afternoon, I'm with Nick De Bois, the parliamentary candidate for the Conservative Party for Enfield North. Nick, you've been the incumbent MP for Enfield North for the last 5 years, and recently the Mayor of London visited your constituency and praised you for many things as being one of a great backbench parliamentarian, and in particular he highlighted your knife crime bill. Now, how is that progressing? And how is that having an effect on the crime rate within your constituency?
Well, look, we all know that crime is coming down, the reported statistics coming down, but the reason I got involved in knife crime was that in 2008 and 9, in North London particularly, knife crime was absolutely horrendous, and our young people were killing each other on the streets, and we had to start taking steps to deal with this. So we introduced two laws. One was, first of all, introducing a mandatory sentence for a new offence, which was using a knife in a threatening fashion. So if someone comes up to you, brandishes a knife, that means you will go to jail.
Okay.
But we had to go further. And I felt we had to make more progress. The government had promised that, in fact, if we got elected, that if you carried a knife, it would be an offence that would carry a mandatory jail sentence. The Liberals wanted to stop that. We all know about their opposition to it. But I introduced a law, managed to get cross-party support, and now if you carry a knife and are convicted of carrying a knife for the second time, you will go to jail. That is only part of the problem, because we won't know the full effect of that until the law has been in place for some time, probably 2 years, to see its effectiveness. But we have to do more work on early intervention, drawing people away from a life in crime, showing them positive role models.
And what support are you getting from the local police in respect of implementing?
Well, in
reporting back to you any knife crime incident that happens in the borough?
Yeah.
Are they on the phone to you saying this has happened outside the local high street bank? This has happened outside the pubs. Are they reporting that?
Yeah,
back
we are getting that. And we had an incident recently near Enfield town, and I get the automatic notification of what's happening. And for me, I went down there, admittedly after the next day when the crime scene was cleared up, and go and talk to residents, follow up by talking to the police. You understand what the issue is, but actually what we're really all trying to do is understand what is driving people to think that it's acceptable to first carry a knife and then stab someone and perhaps kill someone ultimately for something like a mobile phone. And that's where our work's really going to make a difference.
Excellent. Okay. There's a lot of frustration in your constituency about the transport networks, and in particular the line that's not too far away, that was previously the first Capital Connect franchise, the Great Anglia line. Yep. There's a lot of frustration. I know there's been a lot of service user groups that have attended. Have they been well attended? What's actually happening with
we've had
putting their minds at ease as they go in to the polling stations in 3 weeks' time? How is their transport to work going to improve?
I think the first thing that Westminster politicians who spend most of their time in Westminster, unlike myself who spends most of my time on a train going into Westminster, we need to understand a simple fact. If you spend something like 25 years going in and out of London, nearly 1 year of your life is taken up on our trains, worse with delays. This is an important issue. And we took it head on long before I became MP. We started this campaign to get a better deal for Enfield Rail. And as far as the Govia line, the franchise between Gordon Hill, Enfield Chase, was going, we were getting a really bad, unreliable service. One winter, it was so unacceptable that we followed up and got the franchise changed. Now, that doesn't bring immediate benefits, because actually the franchise may change, but we need to get the new rolling stock in place, which has now been ordered by Govia, and you have to get the service frequency up, and you have to invest in the line itself to stop some of the breakdowns and many of the infrastructure problems that cause the delays. Such was the frustration. I got the new rail operator here to have a public meeting and listen first.
Who is the new rail operator?
It's Govia, which is the new Thameslink model. It's a 20-year franchise, and that gives them the right to invest and the requirement to invest. Now they're ordering new metro-style carriages, which will give us more space, because the carriages will be linked. So it means they can't just lob a couple off and Everyone knows what it's like when you're told 6 carriages are turning up and 4 turn up. Those are the changes that we're going to start to see. They'll be fully in place by 2017. So a little more patience and we're going to get there. The Mayor of London's been up because he's taking over thanks to a campaign we started 4 years ago. The worst line, I think, in London, which is the Enfield Town, Turkey Street, Southbury lines, Southbury road rail lines. Again, he's going to deliver new carriages, better fare pricing structure, and do a deep cleans of these stations. I mean, if you travel from Turkey Street or Southbury, those stations are in dreadful condition. We've had a raw deal for too long.
Good. Employment. Let me turn to employment. Another key issue of the general election that's coming up. How is Enfield supporting the apprenticeship schemes? Are the employers on board with this? And what's the plans over the next couple of years?
We should be unashamedly very proud of the role the government played in promoting apprenticeships. They are now a good alternative, even to a degree. And the earning potential from an apprenticeship is quite phenomenal now. And I only met one employer who's embraced it, Johnson Matthey, big organisation based down the Eastern Corridor on Mollison Avenue. And when I first started, in year 2, they took on 8 apprentices. I met 5 of them who are now in full-time work, earning £30,000, something graduates would be quite happy to earn, having trained on the job. Apprenticeships are growing, our Enfield businesses are getting behind it. The challenge for the next 5 years, though, is to make sure these apprenticeships are taken up by the small to medium-sized enterprises, as well as the larger companies. Because let's not forget, over half of the employment in this country comes from our small to medium enterprises. I spent a lifetime in a small to medium enterprise. I understand how life-changing getting your first job can be, and frankly, the apprenticeships are a fantastic way to build a career and a new career. Don't forget, over 50s apprenticeships are on the way now.
Okay, I was going to turn to that because for those sort of mature in years that find themselves in a position where they're looking for work, what are you offering let's say the over 40s? What is available out there for?
Well, I think first of all, before we look at what's available, let's look at what the barriers are. There's no pussyfooting around this. Age discrimination goes on. Sometimes it's almost subliminal. People don't even realise they're doing it. And yet you've got people with a wealth of experience, people who have experience of the workplace, have skills experience, are proven in the workplace, who are sometimes just not considered because of their age. So what I did was recognise that this was a potential problem. In fact, it was a problem for some, and that cohort of people were trying to get back into work was stubbornly not moving. And we created the Over 50s Jobs Forum, which was an advice centre. It was a ability to draw on skills and expertise.
Are they well attended?
Well, actually, these are digital versions. So people are going online, they see advertisements, they see employer experiences. Now, no one can advertise and say, look, Martin, you're over 50, but we want you to work for us. No, what they have to do is make it clear there's no prejudice, there's no barriers. And of course, we then had our jobs fair, which is a regular thing I've run since 2011. And we had a special centre for our Over 50s Jobs Forum there, where people were queuing up for the advice, and all the employers there were committed to it. Much done, much more to do.
One final question, and we have to be brief. The key issue, and there's mixed messages going out there throughout the election campaign in the Enfield North constituency, and that is the future of Chase Farm. Very quickly, how are you going to assure the constituents of its future?
Well, I understand the cynicism against politicians, and I don't fully expect people to take my word even for it. The way to reassure people about the future of Chase Farm is this. Enfield Council, a Labour-led council, have approved the planning commission now for the new 4-storey building that will bring together all the existing services we have at Chase Farm into one modern, fit-for-purpose building. There will be an additional 8,000 square metres of space on top of this 4-storey building, which is reserved entirely for expansion of the hospital at a future date. And again, the money is there. The money has now been approved in the business case from the government. Check out Royal Free Hospital website, who of course don't have political bias. They've set out their plans and the timetable. Check out Enfield Council, the Labour-led council. It's happening. What is outrageous is that my opponent has weaponised the NHS, and she is blatantly telling people that it is not going to be open in 5 years' time. It's disgraceful.
Well, that was Nick De Bois as he goes into the final 3 weeks of his campaign. Nick, thank you for your time. I know you're going to go and trudge out the streets.
We are off to trudge the streets again.
I hope you got plenty of troops out with you today. Thank you very much. That's enough from me.